Hello everybody, welcome to Lunatic Astrology. I'm your astrologer Lori Lothian, recording on a sunny deck in Vancouver, Canada, and we are talking today about a very positive, super auspicious moment in the sky that last happened in the fall or spring of 2022, won't happen again till the April of 2024. What is it, and what is it for? Because it can bring you a few goodies. Boy, oh boy, powerful motivation, optimistic and action, winning choices, successful strategy, enthusiastic determination, expansive, bold ideas, generous productivity, and expanding new directions. Those are my keywords for what happens when Mars makes a flowing sextile to Jupiter. Jupiter is the lord of luck, benefic, fairy godfather planet. In a flowing sextile, the nature of Venus, also a benefic, fairy godmother energy of luck and opportunity and ease, to Mars, the god of change, the god of ideas, a war, the god of new directions, the god of decisions, the god of passion, the god of battles, the god of plagues. We're going to talk about that because he's conjunct Pan for pandemic, and I think it's going to bring some pandemic news that we really want. Positive pandemic news on the horizon first week of September. Most of us are already over it, been there, done that, but believe it or not, some people are still double, triple masking up and anxious about it. So we'll talk about what could come into the news story for everybody in the world around the pandemic story this week. But I'm also going to be doing all signs. Now, if you're new to my channel, please like and subscribe, and also hit that bell for notifications because it helps the channel grow. I got like 1,800 new subscribers in the last 30 days. I'm at a really good pace right now, just like loving the fact that people are finding me. So please continue to support that for me. I really appreciate it if you do. And if you want to learn astrology, I've been teaching this class once already a few months ago. It's called Sky Reader. Be your own astrologer, time your best life. It is an intro beginner's astrology class, how to read your chart, how to learn the basics of astrology, and some timing tools that you can use on the daily in your life to help make best choices for your own timing. So check it out in the description box. It's a waitlist invitation process. If you get on my waitlist, you get the early bird discount and you get in the course. If it doesn't fill, then I open it up to the general public again. So get in there. It starts October, runs 8 weeks. And if you're interested, just at least get on the waitlist. All right, so let's talk about a few things really and specifically about what happens when these two planets are talking to each other before we go into all signs. And if you don't like this stuff, you can jump ahead, but I encourage you to listen a little longer. You know, the last time, Mars, the god of war and protests and rebellions, was in a sextile to Jupiter, it happened in February of 2022. And what happened in Canada during that time was we had the big truckers protest. That's Mars in Capricorn, exalted. Mars is very strong and over the top there, and believe me, that was a big deal. That truckers convoy that went into Ottawa and that Canadians were cheering on from bridges overhead and overpasses erupted as a kind of jubilant zealotry and rebellion amongst the people. And that was why it happened was that Jupiter was in Pisces, his own dignity, and there was a sextile as Mars was applying that energy toward Jupiter. And also what happened was the War Measures Act, it's called something else, the Emergency Measures Act now, was enacted by our government to seize the bank accounts of the truckers and people who donated to the cause. It was quite illegal. Now they've looked back and seen that the excuses they gave the public didn't bear out. Number one, we were told that MAGA, Make America Great Again, Donald Trump conspiracy, what do you call that, QAnoners, had infiltrated the trucker convoy, and there was a attempt to take a coup to take over Canada. I mean, this is what our government was telling us is why they put the War Measures Act, which is extreme, it's supposed to be used when we're being invaded by another country, into place. So this kind of intense extremism with Mars exalted in Capricorn, sextiling Jupiter, was what happened last time this happened. Now what's happening is that Mars is moving through Gemini and he's looking back over his shoulder 2 signs back, 60 degrees back, that's a sextile, at Jupiter in the sign of Aries, where Jupiter is retrograding and will be there in retrogradation till the 3rd week of November. So this is an interesting thing because it implies that when Jupiter goes direct again, and Jupiter will go direct again at the 3rd week of November, and then cross over that same 6 degrees mark. 6 degrees is where it's happening. 6 degrees of Aries and 6 degrees of Gemini. And that's February of 2023. It could be connecting this first week of September to then. I didn't say when it was happening. I do apologize. It's kind of like the 29th, the 30th, the 31st of August, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, even 4th of September. It's in play. It's kind of exact around the 1st. Mars tends to kind of produce the impact of a transit after he's gone through the exact point. So I would say sometime in the first 3 or 4 days of September, this stuff I'm talking about applies to the news cycle and to you as well. Now, to complicate it just a bit, and stay in this, if you like astrology, please hang in there, because I think you're going to learn something here. You see, Aries, Mars is moving through Mercury's sign, right? Because it's the sign of, oh my God, my brain. Yeah, Mars is moving through Mercury's sign of Gemini, where he'll be till the end of next March. Very rare transit. And we won't get this transit again of Mars with Jupiter until April of 24 because of the inordinate number of months, or 74 days, no, not almost 7.5 months that Mars will be in Gemini, right? Really hot spot. Check my Mars and Gemini video out for that. It's in my playlist. It goes through all signs. But I want to say this. I want to say that basically it is Aries where Jupiter is, and that is a sign of the home or the domicile or the kingdom of Mars. So if I was in your home, I'm house sitting a girlfriend's dog right now in Vancouver, Canada for a couple of days, not my home, what would she be thinking about if I'm watching her dog, I'm watering her plants, and I'm in her home? She'd be asking me, how's it going? What do you need? Do you need instructions? So think about it this way. Mars, over in Gemini, is looking at Jupiter thinking, you're in my house, dude, and I'm going to be paying attention to you, maybe even helping you if I can, certainly keeping in touch. So Mars has a vested interest in what Jupiter's doing in his own home sign of Aries. In the meantime, in the same sky, there's a wedge forming, okay, around September 1st. I'm going to try to make it looks like a door stopper, okay? I can't do it with my hands, but maybe I can draw it for you. And a wedge formation in the sky is interesting. I don't have my laptop, guys, because my charger cord, I left it at my house, so I'm using my phone and a lapel mic. I look like a door stopper, okay? And in this wedge formation in the sky right now, you're going to see it as, over here is Mercury in Libra, over here is Jupiter in the sign of Aries, and up here is Mars in the sign of Gemini. And Mars is like taking the tension between the god of news, information, and Jupiter, the god of legislation, laws, travel restrictions, kings and queens, and kinetically breaking it out with Mars at the top of the Gemini point. Well, let's put it this way. Pandemic, legislation, travel rules, and news about the pandemic are going to break out. Why? Mars is the god of plagues and pandemics in ancient Babylonian astrology. He's the emissary of Nergal, and on top of that, who's a god, and he's like the henchman for the Nergal who can bring plagues. It was Mars's heliacal rise and his things he did in September of 2019 that incited the plague. He had his Kazemi in Virgo, the sign of health, and he rose in Libra, a place of detriment. So we've seen a lot of that play out for 2 years. Now, that story's kind of done, right? Mars is finished with that. Since November, there's a helicopter going to the hospital. Since November, when he rose instead in Scorpio. But so now it's a different narrative. Could be more about stealth wars, actually, secret wars. But anyway, I digress. The whole point of this is that asteroid Pan and Mars together around 6 degrees of Gemini is going to be pandemic news breaking through. Mercury rules news, Mercury in Libra, legal news. Also, Mercury can bring news about negotiations and peace treaties from Libra. Opposite Jupiter, maybe there's people in governance or legal forces protesting or fighting against what looks like an attempt at negotiation, peace, and peace treaties. Maybe Ukraine and Russia, maybe Taiwan and China and the United States, don't know, but this, or Australia even, this is in the sky. And then Mars, the god of war, with the god of pandemics, by the way, is breaking the tension here. New directions, Mars. So I think we're going to have, I'll give you an example. Maybe the United States will drop its pandemic restrictions for travel in the sense that unvaccinated people can come into the country. All that big uproar about the tennis player can't do the US Open because he's not vaccinated, but he's had COVID twice. It makes no sense. It's already science knowledge that doesn't make sense. So there's a lot going on here for breakthrough news in those areas of war, peace, treaties, pandemic in the first week of September. Okay. That's the only point I want to make. And as I said earlier in the intro, I wrote keywords down for like winning choices, enthusiastic determination, expanding in new directions, also just plain old success, okay? When Mars and Jupiter are in positive connections to each other, it's very lucky and it's about some ambition that can be quite successful. How does this play out in your natal sky? Well, thank goodness I have my handy notes here I'm about to tell you. We're going to start at the beginning with Aries. I always encourage you to look for your rising sign first, it will be the most accurate. Please also check out my description box below for how to cast your chart in whole sign houses. I'm a Hellenistic, tropical, Western whole sign house astrologer. When we do astrology on YouTube, all of us astrologers are pretending. When we say, oh, your sun sign is this, we're pretending your sun sign is your rising sign. Same with the moon. We pretend it's your moon. We say sun, rising, and moon. We mean, let's pretend that that's your rising sign, and let's navigate the 12 houses around the zodiac as if that's true. And astrology online like this is also acting as if your signs are whole sign houses. Every single 12 pie slices of your 12 houses of your natal chart is the same thing as one whole sign. There's no partial house sign breakdowns that happen with Placidus, Campanus, Koch, and the other house systems. Okay, and this is the ancient tradition that India still uses and that they use in ancient Greece called whole sign houses. Okay, let's get going and let's start with Aries. So Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign in your story. What's going on? Well, first of all, you guys like Mars. We like Mars. I have an Aries sun and moon. He is the lord of our sky. So we're always in tune with what the heck that dude is doing. And as an Aries, we need to be paying attention. We can't just pretend that he doesn't exist. It's got to be on our radar. And he's moving through our third house of siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, skills-based learning, online world, teaching and learning as well. I'm teaching lots of courses this fall, and this is probably germane to Mars being in my third house, for Aries third house. For how long? Oh goodness gracious, guys. It was August 20th through to next March. So I'll be either traveling, third house is trips and travel, spending time with siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, changing up my online world, my platforms online, learning something, skills-based learning. I'm going to take a primary directions class with Rumen Kolev, I think, through Astrolada, etc. So one of the things I want to tell you guys is that this duration, I don't know if I spoke it clearly, is a really rare event, Mars in this one place for so long. And so keep this in mind. This is an unusual time that we won't get another, Mars sextile Jupiter until April of 24. So, and during this particular sky, Mars is going to sextile Jupiter. And Jupiter is where in the sky? He's in a house of us. Our body, our identity, our sense of self. It's opening us up to be more grandiose sometimes, magnanimous, more girthy physically. I put some weight on. Full of a sense of capability, optimism, and hope in our own lives, being more leaderful as well. So these qualities of Jupiter are a bit slow now because he's retrograding until about November 24th. But he'll be here in earnest until the end of next year, like till May of next year. And so we've got a lot of the sky story happening for us, and it's important to realize how preciously rare it is. We're really boldening up as Aries into a bigger version of ourselves and how we present that self in third house ways. So here's a dealio. You've got Mercury, we all do, in Libra in the 7th house. News, information, or contacts, or news coming from a 7th house person, a business partnership, a client, or a marriage partner type person, spouse, or just significant other. And this could be tense at first. I mean, Jupiter's opposing that Mercury. You may not feel comfortable with the news, or it may be larger than and more intense and something you were ready to experience. But Mars is breaking that tension in the wedge and saying, and here's the output, here's the place of releasing the tension. So you can release this kind of information news, which could be, not even about you, right? Your spouse or partner, through, say, planning a trip somewhere, third house, engaging in a learning together, or doing something third housey, So keep this in mind. The Mercury piece is just very transient. It doesn't really last. And none of it does, but, yeah, I just had to bring it up. Now, lastly, I want to say this. Go to February of 2023, because that's when the next time Jupiter crosses over the 6-degree mark, all right, of the sign of Aries, where this is happening in the first week of September. And you'll likely have a way of bookending what's happening in the beginning of September with what's happening in the month of March. Lastly, Mercury is Libra, legal, contract, 7th house. Do you have a lease or contract? I'm thinking about myself, or some kind of thing you've negotiated that at the very last minute might be falling apart, but Mars is trying to find a solution, like change your neighborhood, go on a trip, negotiate something with a sibling, those sorts of things. Just all possible. Alrighty, so let's keep moving on and let's talk about Taurus. Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign people, this is an energy that's happening for you with Mars in your second house of earnings and voice and calling and speech and vocation and foods that you put in your mouth. So let's begin to parse that. Mars will be here all the way till next March, and there's some retrogradation in the fall. You're going to be diving into your food style, what you put in your mouth, wine, cigarettes, vapes, all that stuff, like reassessing that. Mars eliminates things. You'll be reducing those things, getting rid of shit like that. Mars is also going to try to cut away possessions that you don't need, pare away stuff that you might want to sell. He'll help you spend a lot of money when he's in your second house, but also make a lot of money. This is the self-starter place. This is the independent entrepreneur vibe when he's in the second house. So you'll be engineering new financial gain in your life with Mars's support. But also you may have to pare down some of the other extraneous things that don't support your greater financial story. And during this window of the first week of September, Jupiter, the god of luck and news and good news, is in a sextile, in Mars's house, your 12th house of Aries. Backroom deals and negotiations. Yes. What kind of deals and negotiations is Jupiter trying to engineer that are quite fortunate and expansive for you? And now this can involve money sometimes. The 12th house can connect to the 8th, bank loans, mortgages, things to do with inheritances, things to do with money that doesn't belong to you. This could also be negotiations from some spiritual teacher, guide, guru on your behalf regarding your finances, because Jupiter in the 12th is often guru-ish. And then don't forget that Mercury is sitting in Libra, and that's in your 6th house, right across from Jupiter. The 6th house is debt, like my credit card debt, my karmic debt, my bank debts. Okay, so debts that are owed to me or I have owed to others. So there's a sense here that there could be some dynamic breakthrough around debt relief in some fundamental way, whether it's obligations, karmic debt, or financial debt that is opening up in the first week of September, and then again maybe returning to you debt relief stories way down the pipeline in February when this degree is activated at 6 degrees Aries by Jupiter moving forward. And finally, and certainly the 6th house is your health and health routines, and Mercury could be research, knowledge, news, or information, like lab reports or blood work coming back that jolts you with Jupiter in the house of self-undoing and addictions into Mars, eliminating the things that are undoing your health. Literally cutting out the vape instantly, getting rid of the overconsumption of wine instantly. These kinds of things are going to happen for some Taurus risings especially, but also Sun and Moon. All right? I know I'm not looking at you guys because I'm not used to my camera lens being here. Uh-oh. I've got like a phone call coming in, and I'm hoping my recording continues. I'm not taking the call. All right, it didn't stop the recording, thank God. All right, I forgot to put this on. Yeah. Next, Gemini. Oh, wait. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. So Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. You guys are getting a whole humdinger of energy here, aren't you? Like, this is a huge deal for you. You got to admit it. I mean, Mars, 9 months, 8 months, 7 months, whatever, 7.5 months in your sign is so once in a lifetime. And so consider that this is a really critical time for anyone with a Gemini rising. My progressed ascendant is in Gemini, so I've been looking at that from my progressed ascendant angle as well in secondary progressions. So with this energy, you are making bold choices, taking determined, passionate action. You're forthright. You're like totally capable of warrior-like adventure and really risking things as Mars is in the house of Gemini, in the house of you, all the way through to the end of next March. Like for once in your lifetime, the fickle Geminis who can't make decisions and weigh all options and change their mind are going to be more clear-minded about what direction they want to go in, and they're going to stay the course and be determined and focused. Now, Mars is watching over Jupiter in your 11th house, which is Aries, and hopefully getting him to water the plants. Your 11th house is your house of great gains from your career. I mean, large chunks of successful money coming to you, also promotions, awards, rewards, Academy Awards, whatever you need, you're going to get them. And so Jupiter's like Mr. Luck, and he's there till next May, and you're getting that luck, okay? Minus a tiptoe out, but mostly he's there. He's retrograde, so some of the big bold luck shows up after November 24th. So look for some kabooms in your finances sometime down the pipeline, but the seeds of that are clear to you in the first week of September, where you're having this expansive, determined action, successful strategy, winning choices, all of those things I said earlier. With opposition energy from Mercury is opposite the sign where Jupiter sits, which is your 5th house, which is Libra. Mercury may be sitting there going, I need to work it out, negotiate, make deals with, the art of the deal, business associates, because this is a house of independent business enterprise, my children, my lover, or my own muse. Negotiate with the muse about what it is that you're needing to do right now, Gemini rising, especially sun and moon people, that Jupiter in the 11th house, Mercury in the 5th are kind of counterposing each other. And Mars goes, I'll break the tension. I'll break that tension for everybody, Amy, in the house of you. So you break the tension between children and your hopes, dreams, and wishes for your life, 11th house, between the gains you're capable in your career. It could even be a child needing something from you and you just say, no. I don't know, something like that. All right, let's say anything else I want to tell you about. Well, Mercury is your Lord, and of course he does have extra weight for Gemini and Virgo people. So you Gemini folk might find that Mercury really is pressuring something from Jupiter, right? Really pushing Jupiter in the 11th house for some reason. And that pressure might be to get a favor from a friend or an ally, to communicate, message something with and for you that you need for your business, your creativity, your children, your love life. Those are just possibilities, all right? And yet things look like you've got the upper hand and you've got a handle on it because Mars is the one in your sign already. I think you are taking the bull by the horns. You are making things happen here. You've got your handle on it. All right, let's move forward. And 21:33, I'm time stamping as I go. All right, moving into the next sign of Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. All right, Cancer, let's go. Some people say I'm talking too fast. If I talk too fast for you guys, can you slow the recording down? Because I don't know how to talk slow, right? I've got like 4 planets in Aries in the house of communication. Oh, all right, let's keep going. All right, so Cancer, Cancer, sun, moon, and rising. You've got Mars moving through your 12th house. This is a subtle placement. It's not as intense. He's there for 7.5 months till next March, but it's not as overt as it is when he's in other houses. It's called, the house is in a semi-sextile to your ascendant. In the ancient world, it's called an aversion. There's no communication going on between Mars and the house of you. So it could be your dreams at night. It could be someone else. Mars in the 12th could be hospitals and insane asylums and prisons. And someone may be going through difficulty there, like having hospitalizations, and you're dealing with their problems, but it's not really about you. Mars here can help you, though, move forward to cut away any kind of deadwood that is no longer serving the whole growth of you, to do with addictions, self-undoing, self-sabotaging strategies. So you're kind of, Marie Kondoing, does it bring me joy? Your psyche right now. And Mars will eliminate and cut away what you do not need, including, this is the house of hidden enemies, and Mars here could cut away people from your life that you really aren't best served by over the next 8 months. Now, just the first week of September, with a sextile to Jupiter in your 10th house. Jupiter in your 10th house is a career story. It's about your reputation. It's about your success, ambition. It's about your outer expression of your purpose and career and actions you take in that regard in the world. So that's a very visible part of your sky. And if you are a Cancer rising, sun or moon, this is a kind of real career success and opportunity window time for you until next May, as Jupiter's moving up in the top of your chart. He doesn't leave that part of your sky until next May. He's retrograde till the 24th of November, meaning a lot of the goodness is still to come. You don't see it as much when he's retrograde. The seeds are being planted. Mercury will be opposite. Opposite. So ambition and drive from things you're doing behind the scenes to fortify your career with optimistic, hopeful, strategic, winning outcomes. Those are the themes of that Mars and Jupiter right now for Cancers. Mercury is in your 4th house opposite Jupiter, right? Forming that wedge I talked about earlier in the beginning. And so Mercury is like communications about negotiating peace and harmony, ease and flow, and grace in and from your home, and what you may do to market, merchandise, and sell things in and from your home. Mercury here can also lead to the sale of a home or the negotiation of a new lease, but it's opposite Jupiter in the 10th. And there's all that backroom negotiations with Mars in the 12th. So I guess I'd say for some of you, there's some changes going on in your home that require Mars's support, which is people who are behind the scenes helping you negotiate developments in your home. You could get some unexpected news about your home that surprises you in some way as well. And Mercury is the trickster, right? But it seems like Mars is willing to help you work it all out, all right? And somehow bring it all to head, because Jupiter is luck. Even in opposition, there's still some lucky breaks coming through your reputation, career, and the part of your sky that's the home in the first week of September. This will also poke up as a potential bookend energy in the first week of February when Jupiter crosses over the 6th degree again. All right, moving forward now into the next sign, which is going to be the sign of Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. So Virgo people, no, Leo, I apologize. I almost forgot Leos. How did I do that? Oh my God. Sorry, Leo. I'm not looking at a chart. I'm just looking at notes, right? So Leo, sun, moon, rising. You've got this Mars going through the part of the sky that represents good fortune. It's good. It has a good spirit, but it's a fortunate house, and your 11th house. And he'll be there, as I've noted, until next, for everybody, I've noted that he's going to be there for a dog's age, right? Until next March. And so you're really paring down, streamlining, redirecting your deepest dreams, goals, and wishes for your life, paring away and eliminating friends that you don't want or need, or communities of belonging that don't fit anymore. And you may also be experiencing some friends cutting away from you during this long transit. But there's a sextile to lucky Jupiter in the first week of September, and this sextile is happening from your 9th house of education, higher learning, foreign trips and travel, court and legal affairs. For some Leos, there's positive news coming through the sky, ka-ching, about positive, great gains from your career or great gains from a legal settlement, or some developments around a trip to a foreign country. Visas and passports are included, or even book publishing that are working out in your favor in the first week of September and may replay later on in the first week of February of 23. Because of the 6th degree being reactivated by Jupiter. Now, you could also plan the trip now. You don't have to take the foreign trip. Or you may find that you've got an appointment for a court case date that you're going to have the date in February, but now the legal things are set in motion in a positive way. Those are examples, right? You apply for a university or a visa, but you hear you get in February, or you start in February. These are thoughts I have. And don't forget learning. The kind of learning you do in the 9th house is usually, of course, it's longer than a weekend workshop, you know? It's kind of more the vibe of like getting some accreditation that you can use. It's in your alignment, getting a test at the end of it, a diploma or something like that, higher learning. Then you got Mercury in your 3rd house making that wedge. Mercury is a house of trips and travel, in domestic, short trips, travel, siblings. But hey, the 3-9 axis, Mercury opposite Jupiter, definitely has a travel vibe, right? So you could have some gnarly news about travel issues that are going to frustrate you in the shorter term, but in the end, I do feel, because Jupiter's still the god of luck, whatever this gnarly news is, it works out. The 3rd house is also the house of siblings, aunts, uncles, and cousins. This may be their gnarly news, nothing to do with you. They plan to travel with you, you plan to travel with them, you plan to meet them somewhere, and now they're canceling or changing their mind, and Mercury is so fickle. Now, that isn't one of the narratives that I can make from that narrative, that story in your sky. If you need to get any legal affairs signed, Mercury in Libra is ideal for that. 3rd house would be like going down to the local law office to sign it, or doing DocuSign on the internet. And for some of you Leos, this is going to make a lot of sense to sign those documents and get them all done, squared away in the first week of September for your greatest good, bringing you some kind of enthusiastic, optimistic, expansive ideas, determination, choices, and strategy. Alrighty, let's keep rolling through the signs here. Let's go now and talk about the next sign. And the next sign is Virgo. So Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. I'm just running you down that you were at 29 minutes. Just give me a minute, because I'm time-stamping on the fly here. I have to say, I had a dream last night. I time-stamp all my videos, Virgo. And I do all the back-end SEO stuff. It's time-consuming. I had a dream last night that Lada Dunchiva of Astrolada, one of my favorite astrologers, and she and I are Aquarius rising and Aries sun, moon stuff, so Aries sun. I had a dream that she told me to hire someone to do my timestamps. I'm like, okay, this is a total of only Virgos get to know. My practical solution is I'm no longer going to timestamp. I'm going to hire someone. All right, let's keep going. Virgo, you've got this Mars transit in your Gemini 10th house. It goes all the way through to next March. And the sextile from Jupiter this first week of September in the 8th house of other people's money, among other things. So this is a window of time, the first week of March, where you get some financially positive developments that support you in your purpose, your goals, your ambitions, and your career. And because it's Jupiter in the 8th house, he is retrograding. Some of the fullness of this good news financially, inheritances, grants, tax rebates, bursaries, scholarships, equity, home equity loans, I don't know, stuff like that. Some of the good news comes through maybe more fully in the third week of November, after at least Jupiter goes direct, right? But nonetheless, there's some jiggly news coming through the sky that suggests some financial goodness for you. And your 10th house is your career, and people get confused about that. My daughter's at Virgo rising because, she doesn't have a career. She's a student still in university. So it can be what you aspire to show the world that you are. I am an astrologer. I am a writer. It's like that kind of visible purpose in the world, the actions, the practice of our lives that we take in the visible part of the sky. So how do you define yourself? And you could also argue for people who don't have full-time jobs and stuff that, what are you doing that is like your biggest purpose? Are you taking care of your children? Are you studying all the time because you're trying to succeed in school? Mars is giving you the drive, determination, power, action, and will to do all of those things really successfully over the next 9 months. And then just this first week of September is like some lucky break financially from Jupiter in the 8th house. Now, the second house, money as well, is where Mercury sits. This is your paycheck, your wages, and your earning, creating a wedge with Jupiter. I tend to think the wedges are, I try to think of Jupiter as always bringing goodness even when he's in a tense position with a planet. So you could have a sudden dynamic crunchy moment that leads to some positive money stories in the first week of September. And it's Mercury in your second house, so it can be something that you're voicing, the house of speech, that is going to allow you to attain some financial goodness that supports your purpose. It could be you having something going on in your earnings and wages part of your sky regarding negotiations, because Libra is deals and negotiations and harmony and balance, and Mercury is legal negotiations energy too. So you could find out that your boss is going to, offer you some perk, like a greater wage just to keep you on, or to ask you to up level in the business or in the place you work, and you're going to receive some good financial gain in the first week of September in that part of your Virgo sky. It is just good for investment monies. If you put money in the stock markets or investment places, this could be a little tension from Mercury, mercantile markets and stock markets in your second house, but Jupiter boldly expanding your 8th house. You may have a bit of a information news about something in your investment portfolio you're needing to deal with in the first week of September, but the long arc of it is positive. And look to the first week of February, where it looks even better, where things really blossom out, because it's the second time Jupiter will go back over that 6 degree where he made this first contact with Mars in Gemini at 6 degrees as well. Oh no, I dropped my pen. Guys, I need my pen because I'm writing my timestamps. I'm like, you have got to effing be, excuse my language, be kidding me. I am not going back downstairs into the house where my sister's doing a healing. Hey, Virgos, my sister Nancy is an amazing healer. Just excuse me, right? I'm going to dig under the sofa. See if I can find it here. Got it! I'm coming back. Have you guys noticed that there's no way I'm pausing this recording? Ah! And now you've fallen down. Oh my God. I am not pausing because then I have to edit, and my computer's too slow lately for that, or the internet is. Okay, moving forward then, that's all I have for you Virgos. Let's go Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign at 3350. 3350. Okay, Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign people. Libra, I'm just writing my timestamps down for you. Okay, so Libras, you guys are experiencing the Mars transit in your 9th house. I mean, if you Libras don't travel the whole wide world or move to a foreign land, you are suddenly excelling and making major action choices in higher education or legal affairs and matters, because the 9th house is those things, and this is Libra, where this is going to be Mars until next March. There's some Libras who will definitely be off to foreign lands, going back to school, up-leveling their education in some way, winning legal battles with your killer lawyer, right? Mars can play the lawyer here. So keep that in mind. Now, This is a time where some lucky breaks are happening, because Mars in Mars in Gemini is in a sextile to Jupiter in Aries, and Aries is Mars's home sign in your 7th house. So this is a legal house, by the way, no, vows, oaths, and contracts, which is why it's the house of marriage. Some of you may find that you're going to have a legal contract that you're needing to deal with in the first week of September. There's two ways about it. And you may have to go back and do more on that when Jupiter goes direct sometime in the 3rd week of November. But there's some potential contractual legal negotiations that are up in the story, especially because Mercury in the sign of Libra is in the house of you. And that is like, you will be negotiating, you will be speaking, you will be making a deal happen in the first week of September. Now, it could be with anybody. I mean, honestly, as the energy of 1-7, you are communicating with another to make a deal, to make an agreement about something that is positive, that expands your marriage, that expands your business partnerships, that expands your clients and audience and stuff like that. 7th house matters. And go to February of next year, because it'll dovetail and bookend in the first week of February next year, when Jupiter reactivates this part of the sky at 6 degrees of Aries. I would also say that 9th house is the house of the father, and for some Libras, with Mars there's conflict with the father. This is Vedic astrology, it's the house of the father. There's conflict with father figures or patriarchal figures that may play out over the several months ahead. Even an illness with a father, but you could have the first wave of some news, Mercury, about your father. You know, Mercury is involved in the narrative, right? Although he is sextile, he is trine your 9th house. So it could be good news about your father at this point, all right, coming through the sky waves for you in the first week of the month of September. If you need to travel anywhere, it's okay to plan a trip when Mercury is retrograde. People often think they can't plan it. I have found is just don't take the trip when Mercury is retrograde. But for some of you, this could be planning a trip away, abroad, to a foreign land or a foreign country, okay? You may be putting the pegs in place for that journey in the first week of September, maybe taking the journey in the month of February, okay? That's the best I can do with that. Some of you Libras are going to completely revise the meaning of your life and decide what you really want to do when you kind of grow up, because the 9th house can be that vibe with this long Mars transit. And maybe you get some great breakthrough ideas, Mercury, about how you want to live your life and what you want to do with your life during the first week of September that you may begin to execute in the first week of February. Okay, I'm just going to timestamp again. 37:48. Okay, next sign we are doing is Scorpio. My son's birthday is today. I'm recording this on August 29th. Scorpio sun, moon, and rising sign. You've got Mars moving through your 8th house, and this is the house of inheritances, bank loans and mortgages, monies from the stock market, investments, your spousal's shared resources and business partner monies. It can be secrets and intimacy as well, and forbidden topics that are not often looked at, so darker subjects, psychology as well. So with this Mars transit, you could be cleaning up your personal unconscious, your subconscious. You may be doing for 9 months, for goodness sakes, till next March, a basic house cleaning of your psyche. But this can also bring bequeathments. This can also bring elimination of debts. This can also bring a time over the next 7 months, till next March with Mars here, where you are cutting away financial obligations and cleaning up your finances or things like that. And Scorpio, this is going to be given a lucky break energy with Jupiter's support from your 6th house of debts and debt relief. Some of you may pay off a debt, have a debt suddenly eliminated, free yourself from debt, or feel like some kind of bonus money just landed in your lap. This is in play from August 29th to September 3rd, where you're kind of feeling, yay, look at me, I'm so fortunate this money has come to me. Money that didn't belong to you. It can be a gift even. And then you're going to have this movement of, Mercury. And Mercury is the god of news and information, and your 12th house of things that are hidden from view. So sometimes when I see that kind of thing, Mercury will be communicating from the 6th house Libra through to the the 12th house Libra through to that 6th house Jupiter, you could also have some kind of information or secrets or news coming to you that is going to often offer up a financial relief of some sort in your sky, or some backroom negotiations and deals are taking place that relieve you of some obligation, or you sell a property, or you manage to get a bank loan and things like that. It's all the first week of September, but again, it bookends into the first week of February. Now it's getting sunny out here. I'm not sure where to put you guys. I'm trying to move myself a little bit, okay? Because I'm going to start to heat up. All right, so there we go. I think that's it for Libras. Anything else I want to say? No, Scorpios. Did I say Scorpio? I mean Scorpio. If I blurted out Libra, I apologize. I hope I said Scorpio mostly through this. I'm not recording this again, guys. All right, moving forward. I had a bad sleep last night. Not going to talk about why. I just couldn't rest, so I'm kind of zonked and maybe not making any sense. So I hope that's not true. All right, we'll move forward then to the next sign at 46 minutes. Okay. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. So Mars will be going Sagittarius in his determined way through your 7th house of marriage for a long time. Business partners and audience and legal agreements. Now, this can be gnarly. He'll be here August 20th to next March. This is definitely maybe conflict with a business partner, legal conflicts with your marriage partner type thing, significant other. And then, so that's a long story, right? We won't go into all of that now. And then, so your marriage partner may cut away from you, right? Mars, or argue with you a lot. And then in the 5th house, just in the first week of September, Jupiter, let's go August 29th to September 4th, Jupiter is offering up bounty and blessings. He's retrograde, so it's not as full on as it would be if he was direct, but it's the seeds of some luck could do with money luck. It could do with romance, your children, and it's going between 5 and 7. So it could be a legal affair that is positive with your independent business enterprise. It could be a negotiation of a deal or a contract, 7th house things that Mars is engineering with determination, expansion, and keywords, successful strategy that impacts your joy, fun, play, pleasure, and leisure travel, that connects to maybe your children, a lover, or your business enterprise. You may, if you're artistic, negotiate a deal that has to do with your artistic endeavors. Thank you, Jupiter, that impacts you in a positive way. And look to the first week of February for the full out picture of that. How that will look in February could be the bookend, the first week of February. Okay. With Mercury in the forming that wedge by being in the oppositional position in your 11th house, this could be some news or information or tension that occurs with a friend or an ally or somebody in your larger social groups, delivering some information and news that impacts your children, your lover, your travel plans, that kind of thing. But again, Jupiter is a benefic and Mars is working with that Jupiter, and so is Mercury working with that Mars. So at the end of the day, Mars holds all the cards, and Mars is, as I said, in your 7th house. So maybe this is more about your business partner or your marriage partner kind of holding the cards on some decisions that are being made, Mars's decisions, right, regarding some themes to do with trips, travel, leisure, sexuality, contracts, and large groups of people. I mean, it could be something your lover doesn't want or your child doesn't want to go to that big event that you're planning the first week of September. But honestly, these things are larger than the small thing I just mentioned, because this is a bigger archetypal story. I mean, don't forget the key words, right? Like generous productivity, expanding your new directions, optimistic action. How are you going to take some optimistic action in regards to your marriage, business partnership, significant other, clients, audience, and legal affairs? Moving forward, Capricorns. Oh, wait, 4408. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. So Capricorns, you've got a long 7-month stay of Mars moving through your 6th house, of the house where he's in his joy in ancient astrology, where you have, health challenges or work routines and established work habits, the place of your colleagues, co-workers, employment, or employees. So this is a space of change, right? Mars brings new directions. They'll be changing that up for a lot of Capricorns over the next 7 months. And maybe you'll be eliminating employees, or you'll be in your employment place, people are leaving. You may also rise to new directions within the place of job, employment, service, and health protocols. Some of you are changing your health routines. I already find Mars in the 6th house leads people to a movement-based exercise program or needed surgeries. And this is a long thing that goes all the way through to the end of, middle, 3rd week of March next year. The little blip in the 1st week of September is so lovely. Am I recording? Yeah. Jupiter in your 4th house of home and what you do from your home. Expand your home, enlarge in your home, make more joy happen in your home. This is what Jupiter's trying to do here until next May. For some of you, it definitely means a happy new move, a joyful new home, a larger home, a better home. Those sorts of things are being engineered until next May for you. But this little 1st week of September has got some of the seeds of that. So it could be like a home in which you can work from home with much greater ease, a home in which you are more healthy because of something about this new home, or changes you're making in your home to make your home better for work or make your home better for health issues as well. Now, your 10th house is where Mercury sits during this 1st week of September and opposes Jupiter. Now, this could be news in your workspace from your boss higher up, things in the work environment, reputation news coming through, status news, or just work and job news. That is not exactly easy to meld with the joy you're trying to create at home. And yet Mars is taking that and working with it in the 6th house. So it might even be having to eliminate something from your work strategies in order to create joy at home and appease the higher ups, or in order to create better health outcomes from yourself and appease the gnarly negotiating energy of Mercury and Libra from your higher ups. Now, it could be that the higher ups are just trying to negotiate you into doing more work, and you're like, I don't think so, my health, or working from home more often, you say, I don't want to. So things like that for Capricorns are going on in the 1st week of September. And then look to the 1st week of February for a redo, but in a way, a bookend of that same story. And you won't know what it is until you get there, but just be aware of that longer arc of that narrative. Jupiter in the 4th house blesses the mother. It may connect you to family, legacy, wealth, and inheritance as well, just so you know. And so some of this could be connected to the partaking of family wealth, whether it's real estate or money or whatever in some way. Aquarius, we're going to move to you at 4733. I'm an Aquarius rising with Saturn on my ascendant in the South Node for you geeks in astrology. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. I ever got people who want to hide their astrology charts from people. Like, really? What are they going to do? Black magic on you? Like, seriously? Okay, so Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign people. What we have happening here is this. We have a long transit for 7 months of Mars through our 5th house of children and lovers and romance and sexuality and play. Now, this is a very passionate energy, and for some of us it will mean that we are going to be getting all hot and bothered and getting really into even athleticism, sexuality, passion, romance. This is about our children. Mars moving through here means moving away from our children, cutting away, or they move or they denest as well. And we're also maybe amping up our independent entrepreneurial business enterprise, like I am doing that. As Mars gives us new directions, ambition, determination, and drive. In the 1st week of September, we're getting this support from Jupiter in our online worlds, our social media platforms, our teaching, things we teach or learn. They're skills-based. Now I'm teaching my Sky Reader course this fall, and I'm teaching an intimate mentorship program for professional astrologers. There's a wait list for my next batch of the professional astrologer course. So I'm doing a lot of teaching. Jupiter's expanding that, but he's retrograding until November 21st. So a lot of us are going back over old grounds. I've taught the Sky Reader class before. I'm revising the content for my October class, right? That makes so much sense for me. What are you doing as an Aquarius, where you might be revising, going back over some teaching that you've done before, something you've learned before and learning it again? I might sign up for a primary directions class. I've already learned some basics. I'll go deeper into it. These sorts of things. Jupiter here can mean luck coming through siblings, aunts, uncles, and cousins, or good news and luck coming through them, impacting our 5th house, our fun or joy or play or leisure travel or pleasures in life. And with Mercury in the 9th house in Libra, foreign lands, visas, court cases in our storylines could be really highly activated. And, you know, there's a tension between that Mercury in the 9th and that Jupiter in the 3rd. We may, you know, want to plan a trip, but we're not sure we can do it. So there's some tension there, or we get some news from a foreign land, book publishing opportunities, higher educational settings, but it's kind of at odds with what we're up to in our 3rd house, you know. The 3rd house energy is also our local environment. Jupiter is saying enjoy, expand, or even grow larger within your local environment and also within your online presence or world, website, social media platforms, also writing as well. So even though there may be a call, 9th house, for around visas, foreign lands, book publishing, and higher education, you may actually turn away and focus more on the 3rd house things. Yeah, I'm going to say that. And if you are single and you have this Mars transit through your 5th house, good luck staying single. Some passionate romantic affair thingy is kicking in. And if you're with somebody and it's gone dry and it's gone lackluster, this will really heat up the sexuality between you and someone else, or the romance between you and someone else over the next 7 months. And whatever's going on in that first week of September, you're going to see fruition in February as well, when Jupiter goes back to 6 degrees of Aries and re-establishes the story a little bit. So keep that in mind as well. Mercury is news and information, and 9th house is governing bodies, like the legislative bodies. So you could get some news coming through legislative or court affairs. But again, Jupiter's involved. So for the most part, it all works out in the wash, okay? I think it's more positive, and Mars is breaking the tension from the 5th house of money, luck, joy, celebration, lottery wins, okay? Gaming wins. Because 9th house is governing bodies, it dispenses the money. 3rd house is siblings, and 5th house is lottery wins. I've been playing the lottery with my sister, holding hands as we buy a ticket. You can't make this stuff up. All right, that's what this Aquarius is doing with that energy. All right. And last but not least, of course, we always say that here, is the Pisces people of the world. All right, Pisces, we've been going through this story for you for a while. Mars is, I've been talking about in many videos, Mars is going to make you construct a new home, renovate a home, tear down a home, build a new home, or change your home, because he's going to spend an inordinate, once-in-a-lifetime 7 months in the 4th house of your land, home, and real estate as he transverses the Gemini corridor of your 12 pie slices. Now, while he's doing all of that stuff, in the first week of September vibe, he's going to be receiving some lucky opportunities, some expansion, some generosity and magnanimousness from Jupiter in your money and earnings house. So you may expand your earnings, get a raise, get a promotion, establish some earnings direction that you've been before too. Like, it's not new. Go back to an old job. My sister Cindy will reactivate her old blind faith reading. She took some time off for health issues, and that's all going to be back in the swing for people like that. Going back to an old earnings strategy, reactivating old earnings, and especially be patient for you Pisces, because the earnings strategy doesn't pick up full steam till the 3rd week of November, when you get a direct motion Jupiter again. So the first 5 months of 22 is going to kill it for you financially. You're going to be on your game, so be patient. But the first week of September offers a glimmer of hope, faith, and goodness about these themes. And you do have Mercury in your 8th house, and that's investments, bank loans, mortgages, credit card debts. Mercury, news, information, and correspondence, and mercantile stock markets. Something could pop financially, or spousal money, or inheritance money, that you get your hands on money that you could buy some home, renovate a home, or you inherit some real estate or a home, or some legacy home, family wealth, or your partner's money, or your partner's family's home comes into your life. You're going to see some good money stuff. But in the first week of September, yeah, Mercury is kind of in a gnarly tension, right? You could get a bit of tax news that you don't like at first, because Mercury is in Libra, legal, 8th house taxes, opposing Jupiter in your 2nd house. But on the other hand, it could just be exciting. I mean, sometimes I think squares and oppositions with Mercury isn't really that bad. I actually think sometimes, I mean, I'm just questioning the literature on this one. With the oppositions from Jupiter, I'm going to go back and read my Firmicus Maternus on this, because my experience of Jupiter oppositions is a positive in my personal life. They're not like really intense and gnarly. So I would encourage you to think this might be actually just some good money breakthrough news, supporting good things happening in and from your home. Then you're going to look to the first week of February as well, when Jupiter reestablishes 6 degrees of Aries on his direct motion through the zodiac. And he's doing all that direct motion, as I mentioned, on your behalf in your second house of money and earnings and wages and good things that come to you that way. So I would think there's some real momentum showing up that regarding the first week of September, connecting to breakthrough, momentum, and luck in your money story, and regarding how you live your life in your home as well during that first week of February. All right, so I hope I didn't go too short for you guys. I know some people say I should start with Pisces so that I give long time energy to you guys. Let me see if I can say anything else. Secrets are the 8th house. Mercury is the whisperer of secrets. 8th house is dead people. Mercury is a psychopomp, and he talks to the dead people and communicates their messages. Pay attention to your dreams, dreams of the dead, secrets being revealed. That may shock or surprise you a little bit, opposite Jupiter in the money house, but ultimately Jupiter works out a deal, and it works out in your favor, and it expands and fortifies good things, changes in and around and from your home. 8th house can be spousal money, like alimony, palimony, or shared resources, and your spouse information news, revealing of secrets around spousal money may come to light for you during this time as well, first week of September. But I think in the wash it all works out, because you know what? That Jupiter is pretty strong, you know. I think he pulls off a good outcome for you regarding those themes. Okay, so that's it. I am finished. Thank you for listening. Don't forget, please like, please subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Any glitches I had along the way where I started over, I think I did that for one sign at least. Please, I apologize. I don't have editing patience. I don't remember where I glitched. And I'm going to end this whole thing with a last view of this amazing roof deck and the city behind me. Hang on. Ah! And the city behind me. Ciao, guys. I'll see you soon.